After selecting the input cells for your web application, you must define each individual input cell type. This is a matter of defining which of the available form controls will be the input type for each input cell that you previously chose. In this example, we will look at a brief overview of each available input type. You must bear in mind that if you have already created the necessary form controls in Excel prior to the conversion, then it is not necessary for you to define the input types for your input cells, as SpreadsheetWeb automatically converts Excel's native form controls during the conversion process. Furthermore, you must make sure that all of the necessary fields for the input cells are created before opening SpreadsheetWeb Wizard. For example, the options available for the combo box should be present in the workbook before opening the SpreadsheetWeb Wizard. Our first input type will be a text box. A text box is a relatively standard input type where the end user can type directly into a field. They are also the default input type for all selected inputs. There is also a column in the input cell settings called default value. This denotes the default value that will appear within the input upon the end user's first loading of the page. Text boxes have several advanced features such as validation support, which is explained in another video. The next input type is the masked text box, which is commonly used for entering passwords. You can select it from the drop-down menu, and it masks the characters entered by the end user in the finalized web application. Next is the combo box. As soon as you select the combo box option in the input cell settings page, you'll be directed to select the combo box options. Simply select all of the options you wish to be available in the combo box. Bear in mind that SpreadsheetWeb will automatically skip all empty cells in the range except for the first one because this allows the combo box to have an empty selection as the default value. This process is also identical to the selection options for the list box, which will be described shortly. Next is the checkbox. You must do the same thing for the option buttons. The difference between option buttons and checkboxes is that between all of the option buttons in a set, only a single one can be selected, whereas in a checkbox, any number of the options can be selected. Next is the list box, which works identical to the combo box. Simply select it from the drop-down menu, and then select all of the options necessary. The grid is an option that allows you to have an input field that is similar to Excel in your web application. This can be used to create a matrix or simply allows the user to work in a space that resembles an Excel spreadsheet. You select grid from the input type, and then select a grid within the workbook where you'd like the grid to appear. There's also a calendar input, which will open up a calendar where the user can select a date. This is useful for gathering information regarding particular time frames or dates. Simply select it from the drop-down menu. Finally, the last option available is the attachment input type. Using this input type and a Save or Submit button that will be described in another video tutorial, your end user can upload a file to the SpreadsheetWeb Control Panel database. If you would like to add more input cells, simply press the Add Input Cells button in the Input Cell Settings screen. Then manually select the input cells you would like to add to the web application. Also, you can see the input ranges for all of the form controls that you've already created. If you would like to change any of them, simply press the Selection tool.